All right, welcome back to the Central Valley Buzz, everybody. I'm Chuck Leonard, and it's Thursday. It's time to go to Old Town Mariposa with my good buddy, Bob Borchard from Bet's Gold Coin. Bob, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Nice to see you. Who'd you bring with you today?
I brought a good old friend of mine, Dick Whittington from Merced.
Yep. Dick, hello. Welcome to the Buzz. How are you, sir?
Dick is the transportation guy for Merced County, and we thought it would be a good idea to talk about the role that Merced plays as a transportation terminal hub for access into the Mariposa area and Yosemite Valley. And this connection has some pretty deep history. Goes back 150 years or more.
The first time I was in Mariposa and I saw the bus stops, I was like, well, wait a minute, this is a little town. What's it doing with all these bus stops? And then I asked you and you told me the YARTS from Merced up to Mariposa and into the park.
It's more complicated than that. You could get a ticket. Well, I'll let Dick get into that, but maybe we could focus in on the history of this and we have some pictures going back 100 years, 150 years.
Yeah.
So the Yosemite Area Rapid Transit System, is this what it stands for?
Yosemite Area Regional Transit.
Regional Transit. It's been going for 150 years.
No. What he's talking about is the connectivity between Merced and Mariposa has been around for 150 years. And the pictures that'll come up in a minute will show how that connection worked. YARTS has been around for 15 years.
Okay.
And we do run between Merced and Mariposa and Yosemite Valley. We have some other service as well between Mammoth Lakes and Yosemite Valley, and between Sonora and Yosemite Valley, and soon to have service from Fresno to Yosemite Valley. But right now, this summer, the service is from Mariposa or Merced to Mariposa to the valley. 6 runs a day. And,
6 runs a day? No kidding.
Yeah.
Now I've saw the buses. These aren't your regular transit buses. These are nice buses.
We're going to show you a photo of one here in a minute, and but it would be fun to show you where we came from, because the old photos bring you up. I mean, they literally were making 3-day trips to Yosemite. Back in the 1890s, there's a picture of the Yosemite stage line, and they took people in that open conveyance to Yosemite. Same thing with that.
From Merced?
From Merced.
How long would that take back then?
It had to be at least 3 days. Had to be at least 3 days.
And they'd send 3 out a day?
I don't know, but it took 3 days to get there. Mm-hmm. There's one that's horse-drawn that had to be at least 3 days.
Wow.
And if you flip on to the next photo, it'll show you how far we've come, because that's the bus you're talking about.
Wow, that is a beautiful bus right there. Like I said, Dick, before, this isn't your regular transit bus. This is like a charter bus.
Well, it's like one, but this is clear and simple. This is public transit. And they're MCI buses. They hold 50 passengers. They have air conditioning, of course. There's a restroom on the bus. All of the seats on the bus have three-point seat belts.
No kidding. That's nice to hear.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, YARTS was the first public transit agency in the country with 3-point seat belts. We have tie downs for little kids.
For the child seats.
Child seats.
Right.
There are even electrical outlets on the bus, so you can recharge your telephone or your iPad or whatever. They're really nice buses.
No.
And it makes that trip, the trip is a little shy of 3 hours if you go all the way from Merced to the park. It makes that trip a very comfortable trip.
What does it cost?
As opposed to 3 days.
Exactly.
What does it cost to go from Merced through Mariposa into the Yosemite Valley on the YARTS?
$25 round trip, and it's only $13 round trip to Mariposa.
You can't beat it.
And that includes your park entrance fee.
That's right. You don't pay a gate fee if you go in on YARTS.
Wow.
And the really unique thing about this, we've been a transportation hub in Merced, has been the gateway to this region from a transportation perspective for 150 years. And That's why we had Sarah and the photos from the Merced Historical Society. And by the way, I have a bunch of those, but we didn't have time for them all. But the reality here is that we have just approached, what, 1 million people? We've had 1 million people?
I think I read that you just did your, in 2014, this summer, you carried your 1 millionth rider.
We did, yeah. And
That's pretty amazing.
for some agencies, for BART, for example, that wouldn't be a big deal. For YARTS, 1 million people is a big deal. And we were really proud of having reached that goal. The transportation hub that Bob was talking about, Merced has always had, in that one photograph, you'll remember that the stage line was right next door to the train station. And we still make that connection. And Bob started to mention it a minute ago, but you can be in Portland and buy an Amtrak ticket to Mariposa or to any place Yosemite or any place we stop along that corridor. And so Mid-Pines, El Portal, Yosemite, you can buy a Amtrak ticket there, and it's lineless. There is just your Amtrak ticket works on the YARTS bus, and you get on and you just keep on going.
How nice, how relaxing, and you end up in the Yosemite at the end. And
we're working right now with Greyhound to create that same kind of throughway type. That's what Amtrak calls that, throughway ticketing, and Greyhound calls it something else which escapes me right now, but we're working to establish that same relationship with them, where you could be in San Diego or Portland or someplace and buy a ticket to Mariposa or to Yosemite on a Greyhound, and the Greyhound comes to Merced, you get on our bus, and then you go on up the hill. So connectivity is a big deal in transportation right now, and we're gaining ground just every day in that connectivity, and the deal with Greyhound, if we can get it done, will be a nice addition to that.
This whole piece of business has some really close history to me. I've been in Mariposa. I was in Mariposa when it started. I was a planner in Mariposa when this was the planning process going on.
You're talking about YARTS.
YARTS.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of developing public transportation from Merced up to Yosemite National Park was pretty cutting edge. I'm an old guy, and this was going on a long time ago. People are still struggling with the idea, but of how we can integrate public transportation into getting people to places like Yosemite without cluttering up the park with cars,
without having to drive,
without the pollution, and from a passenger standpoint, it is relaxing. You can see what's going on, and you don't have to worry about driving off the road. And as you know, driving up the Merced River Canyon, there's a lot of distractions, and your wife probably makes you pull over to the side.
I'll tell you something. You know what I like about this? I like about this is that it gives travelers options. You can do it a different way and enjoy it, like you're saying. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. We love to take the train, and we have a station right here in Fresno that takes just a short amount of time to get to Merced, and I can see the kids having a great time just taking the YARTS.
It is. And one of the things that really struck me is that when my son was in school, all the kids in Mariposa would organize ski trips. They had to catch the bus at 5 o'clock in the morning in order to make it up to Badger Pass for their ski weekend. But our kids organized themselves around our public transportation systems, and next thing you know, they're doing ski weekends up at Badger Pass on the YARTS bus. And
That's awesome.
It really made me feel pretty special, because I've been involved in the planning of this, and the next thing you know, I'm sitting there listening to my kids talking about organizing a bus trip on the system that I help.
And again, that's a lot of times people think about the public transportation as being such a big city thing. And here it is, Mariposa taking advantage of it with the park right there. It's brilliant.
Here's the part of the deal with having the transit service to Yosemite. Yosemite Valley is 10% of Yosemite National Park, yet most of the visitors go there. It's 7 miles long, a half a mile wide, and gets 4 million visitors a year. In the interest of maintaining the quality of visit and trying to reduce congestion, the idea of taking public transit is really important to the park. And they are promoting that pretty heartily right now to allow additional people to visit the park without
polluting the air
and cluttering the roads with cars and making the quality of visit still a good one. The thing that you mentioned about, I ride the bus every so often if I go to meetings, when I go to the Gateway meetings up in Yosemite. And I like to drive. I drive a lot. I drive to Yosemite a lot. And I never ride the bus that I don't see something that I didn't see before, because I'm not driving. I'm looking out the window. I'm up high. The windows are huge.
You're enjoying the trip.
Exactly.
Great way to daydream too, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, we have some experiments that people could try out, because this weekend, December the 6th, people could jump right on that YARTS bus from Merced or Fresno, Clovis, and drive all the way, get on the bus, come up to Mariposa and see the Merry Mountain Christmas Festival, our Christmas tree riding. We have a parade. It's really a big deal.
Okay. Well, we have to take a quick commercial break, and we can talk a little bit more about that, because we're coming back to Old Town Mariposa in the next break. But don't you guys go away, because we're going to stay in Mariposa for the next commercial break. We'll be right back.
Shop Old Town Mariposa for a unique, authentic Christmas shopping experience. Make it a holiday getaway to the mountains for the whole family. Did we mention that off-season hotel motel rates are as low as $65 a night?